I've reviewed Batman and Shadow. I've reviewed Superman and Knuckles. Today, I'm taking a look at the DC Sonic the Hedgehog, Cyborg, and Tails. I also picked up these blind bags, which, if my information is correct, are Sonic and Amy. Then again, if you've seen the thumbnail and they're in it, you already know. Tell me, what secrets does the future hold? Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation. Starting with the packaging, and I think we've got a pretty good idea of this blister card by now. Cyborg and Tails have an orange motif. Not sure what this place is supposed to be. Maybe the Justice League space station? Let me know what you think in the comments. Otherwise, we've got some pretty nice artwork of Victor, as well as Tails, with all the rigmarole on the back, including a synopsis, promotional images, articulation. Tails has 6 points, guessing it's the, well, Tails, and the other sets we've already looked at. The blind bag figures come in these. They feature mystery heroes. Ironically, Knuckles is on the bag, though he isn't one of the figurines in this wave. From what I was told in the comments, this code tells you what the character's supposed to be, so here's hoping. For packaging, Cyborg and Tails, and the rest get 5 points. Moving on to presentation, and let's hack into this plastic mainframe. Nope, not proud of that one. Indeed, we have Amy. If you're looking for her in-store, here's her code. And hey, we've got Sonic. For those looking in-store, here's his code. Just like Batman and Superman, Cyborg stands at 5 inches, or 13 centimeters, while Sonic, Tails, and Amy are 2.5-ish inches, or between 6 and 6.5 centimeters. Out of the gate, and I'm just gonna say it, of the 3 DC heroes we've looked at so far, Cyborg is hands down the best. Leastways in terms of presentation. Not only does he just have the most sculpted and painted detail, but those details do a great job of hiding the articulation. Looking at his hand-to-head ratio, the proportions are also the most natural. Of the 3, and I definitely like his face the best. Not just the sculpt, but also the finish. Compare that to Superman, who's glossier than Papa John. And the little punches of red throughout the figure are a very nice touch. For a touch I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of, they gave him this claw machine clamp hand with all sorts of little tubes and pistons. Turn your head and cough! I'm also a big fan of the metallic silver, and in general it just feels like the most thought and creativity went into this one. Tails is every bit as detailed. I love this coy little expression that they gave him. They also gave him a claw-like Cyborg, but his has a blue light instead of a red one. Tails, more like forceps. Similarly, all the lines, panels, and tech detail is present and accounted for. Flipping around back, you can see more of that. That's not to say I don't have one criticism, which is that compared to Cyborg, Tails is just a flat gray. My only guess is that it's a budget thing. Still, it's a little bit of a bummer, and would definitely take this figure over the top, especially when you see how intricate the paintwork is on Sonic. Just like the Rebirth Flash design, he has little yellow lightning bolts running throughout the costume. We can see more of that on his chest, arms, and legs. I like how instead of lightning bolts around the forearms, they just made the cuffs of his gloves yellow. It's also cool how, despite being a different color scheme, it's still unmistakably Sonic. Really nice job on the logo also. It's funny too, because on Superman, I hate the black outline around the emblem, but when it comes to the Flash, I never mind because yellow against white is so hard to see. Also nice job on that lightning bolt belt, and of course very good job on the quills. It does unfortunately make him a bit back heavy, and out of all the minifigures we've looked at so far, I do have the hardest time getting him to stand. Also, out of all the characters we've looked at, I'll admit that I know the least about Amy, but I really like how they translated Wonder Woman's costume into her design. It's actually really adorable. Ignorant as I am, I don't know if these rings are inhibitors, you know, like they are with Shadow, but they did cast them in a marbleized plastic along with her tiara, and it does add a little something. The cape is pretty well done too, and while it's not painted, there are details running down the trim. If it were all about Cyborg, this section would be a slam dunk, but as well sculpted as Tails is, that flat gray really does take him down a notch. Of course, this is a series for kids and not high-end collectors. Still, if I notice, I imagine a kid would too. That said, we can't forget about Sonic and Amy. I am so impressed by all the little paint details on Sonic, and thanks to small touches like the marbleized plastic, I feel like they really went above and beyond on Amy. Taken all together, and judging on a curve for it being a kid's line, for presentation, I'm giving this gang 5 points. If you continue to watch this video without giving it a like, that would would be no good. Also, just to let you know, on Saturday, November 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll be appearing in a live stream on JBTM Reviews. We'll be discussing how to know when it's time to quit a collection. Link to his channel in the description below. Moving on to Poseability, and it's interesting because in some ways these are less articulated than we've seen so far, but in other ways they're more. From the top, and as before, Cyborg's head is on a ball joint and a disc swivel. He can look up this high, which isn't much, but better than nothing. For comparison, and this is looking straight ahead, but he can really bury that covered up chin. No tilt, but I think that's to be expected at this point. He does, however, get all the way around. The heads of Tails, Amy, and Sonic, however, are on ball joints, but they only get side to side. I kind of expected Tails to be able to get a little bit more range, seeing as how he's the first one we've looked at so far that didn't have anything going on in the back of the head, but no, same as everybody else. Moving on down, and Victor does have the shoulder pauldrons, and while that doesn't get in the way of his left arm, it most definitely gets in the way of his right. As such, this is the best he can do raising both arms. That said, neither one has any issue with shoulder rotation. They also both benefit from butterfly joints, along with bicep swivel, as well as pinless double jointed elbows, which, unlike my Superman figure, are not falling apart this time. The claw hand does impede articulation a little bit, by which I mean all it can do is swivel, whereas his left hand can swivel and hinge either up or down. Alternately, and the minifigures just have swivel hinge shoulders. I'm told that there are those who also call these universal joints. No articulation in any of the hands, of course. Moving to the middle, and Cyborg has a diaphragm joint and a ball jointed waist. Not a whole lot of arching back for perspective, and here standing straight. And while he might not have a whole lot of hunch forward, there is at least a little bit. He also gets a bit of side to side tilt, along with twist at the diaphragm, and also the waist. No torso articulation on these guys, of course, but as I previously discussed, Tails has articulated tails. These are on a simple ball joint, and has a surprisingly good amount of movement. Is this why they couldn't afford silver paint for his armor? Below the bright red belt buckle, and Cyborg has ball jointed hips. Victor can kick a little over 45 degrees, and back this far, and a perfect split. Once again, the little guys only have swivel hinge. I would say Sonic probably has the best range, though to be honest, Amy has much better range than I expected given the skirt and the cape. Victor, of course, has thigh cut, allowing for complete rotation, but unlike Batman and Superman, who had pinless double jointed knees, Cyborg only has single jointed swivel. As you can see, the bend is nowhere comparable to Batman and Superman. Also, unlike Batman and Superman, he doesn't have boot cut, but the swivel does kind of make up for that. Again, no toe articulation, but he does have ankles that can hinge, and like Cyborg himself going from being in the Teen Titans to being on the Justice League roster, pivot. Obviously, the minifigures have their limitations, but in Cyborg's defense, at least he never fell apart. That said, the shoulder armor and lack of boot cut do limit him just a bit compared to the other heroes we've looked at. For posability, I'm giving Cyborg and company 4 points. Moving on to playability, and once again, they don't come with anything, but of course, playability is more than accessories. It's also about how well your figures play with others, and while we wait for Silver as Green Lantern, these 5 look great together. Same thing with Cyborg, Superman, and Batman. While we wait for Series 2 to complete those heroes, we could always use other lines like Total Justice or JLA by Hasbro. The nice thing is that those will scale with other lines like Ninja Turtles or the Real Ghostbusters. That said, if you wanted to skew a bit smaller, you could slide those Sonic characters in with your superpowers. I also think you could make 6 inches work as long as you slip them into a smaller line like DC Icons. That would give you a lot more character variety, though Mezco 112 Collective would probably work as well. For a relative scale comparison, here they are with Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man, and as always, here they are with Stealth Iron Man. Hey buddy, watch where you point that thing. This has really been a fun little series to collect, and I really hope Jakks Pacific finishes the set. If by some twist of fate they don't though, I'm really glad I was able to get Sonic and Amy. For playability, I'm giving everybody 4 points. This leaves us with nothing left to to discuss but the price. Sonic, Amy, and the other blind bags are $5 each, meaning that in these $20 2-packs, the DC hero is $15. For a well-sculpted, well-painted, hyper-articulated figure like this, that is more than reasonable. I also think that $5 is a more than reasonable price for a blind bag minifigure, especially when you know the code to look for. For price, I'm giving Cyborg, Sonic, Tails, and the rest 5 points, averaging out to a grand total of 4.6 out of 5. Sound off in the comments and let me know what you think. For my previous videos in this series, check out one of these, and until next time, play nice and have fun.